What if we had an array that held the grades of a student and we wanted to check if the student failed any assignments? So here's our array. Consider anything below a 70% to be failing. Each value is stored in an element of an array, therefore it has a location that can be referenced. We know that at grades 3 we will find the value of 70, right there. So here's our code. Let's go through this line by line. This line of code right here fills in the grades array with the scores, the values. Here we have int j equals 0. This declares a variable j to count the number of failing grades. You need to declare this variable before the loop so that it's not reset to 0 each time the loop runs, and so that you can still access the variable after the loop is over. Here we have our loop. This loop accesses each array element from 0 to 5 index values. Then we have an if statement. If the grade in that compartment, so grades with I inside of the square brackets, if the grade in that compartment is less than 70, it will increment j by 1. And at the end, after the loop is over, we print the final value of j. The first time through the loop, I is 0. Grades 0 is 97. 97 is not less than 70, therefore j is not incremented and it remains at 0. Then we start the loop again where I is 1. Grades 1 is 89, which is also not less than 70, so j remains 0. Start the loop again. The next iteration we have I equals 2, which gives us grades 2, which is 52, which is less than 70, so we enter the if statement and run this code. Incrementing j by 1, j is now 1. All right, loop again. We have I equals 3. Now we have grades 3 is 70, which is not less than 70. Therefore, we do not run the code here. We start the loop again. All right, next we have 91, which is not less than 70, so j remains at 1. Finally, we have 64, which is less than 70, so j is incremented one more time, giving us a j value of 2 at the end. So you failed 2 grades. What if the teacher decided that everyone deserved 10 bonus points on every assignment except the 4th assignment? So that would have an index value of 3, which would be this one right here. So we have the for loop that goes through every single element in the array, and then we're testing each element to see if the index value is not equal to 3. If it's not equal to 3, then we're going to take that grade and add 10 to whatever it is. And then, so you can see that only the 70 is not increased by 10 points. The final array looks like this, and this remains 70. Let's say we ask the user to input the grades and do not know how many elements there are going to be. How can we set up a loop? In the prior examples, in order to have the entire array checked and filled, our for loop had to be initialized to 0, then go until it is equal to the total elements. What happens though if we change the length of the array? We would have to go into every loop that refers to the total elements and change the number. That is tedious and can potentially create many errors. Every array has a built-in read-only length attribute. This automatically holds the total elements of the array. It is much more efficient to use length rather than the number of elements. Always use it. For example, we have an array x here. Instead of writing 5 less than 5, we can write x.length. So that's the name of the array dot length. So that will be equal, in this case, to 5. This segment will print out 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The loop will end when you reach the end of the array. Notice we stop one less than the length. This is because the first position is always 0. The syntax for using the array length attribute is name.length, the name of the array, a period, and the word length. Using a period in this example is called using dot notation, and it's a way to use methods and fields in Java. We will be learning more about methods and fields later on in this course. Let's try another example. Write a program that will add the digits 9, 5, 4, 2, and 1 and output the sum. Alright, so we have our integer array here. We declare our sum variable before we start the loop, and we set it equal to 0. We have our for loop, and we use x.length, so it doesn't matter how many values are in here. X.length will do that automatically. Then we take sum and we add the current value in the array that we're at. So the first time through the loop, we are at I equals 0, so x0 would be 9. The next time through the loop, I is 1, and x1 is 5, and so on. So this will just add the next value onto the sum, and at the very end, once we exit the for loop, we'll print the value of the sum. It's considered good Java practice to always use the length attribute instead of the actual number of elements in an array. In this example, x.length is the same thing as putting 5. Java counts the number of elements so that you don't have to do so.